Hey, welcome back. Let's jump right into this zinnia. I definitely had to look up how to pronounce that before I filmed this video, but I love these flowers. I think this is such a fun way of stitching it. There's only a couple stitching methods I use to put this together, but all of the little parts of this put together are what makes it this gorgeous flower. So I'm starting off with some French knots. I've got a size 5 embroidery needle with just 2 strands of embroidery thread, and the color I'm using is actually the same color I'm going to be using on the petals as well. So I'm just making a small inner circle here. Now I'm going to come in with a darker red shade and fill in the rest of this circle with French knots. I'm still using that size 5 embroidery needle with 2 strands of embroidery thread. Now that the middle is all filled in, I've got my mustard thread with that same size 5 embroidery needle, and I've got 3 strands of thread this time, and I'm going to use a lazy daisy stitch to add an extra layer of dimension before I stitch the flower petals. These are very tiny and barely perceptible, but I love the effect that it gives. So these lazy daisies are probably as small as you could actually make them, and they barely look like a lazy daisy stitch, but I love the added dimension and texture that it's going to add to the zinnia. Now moving on to the last part of this zinnia is our satin stitching. You guys know I love my satin stitch. So I've got 2 strands of my pink embroidery thread, the same thread that I started off with those French knots in the middle. Just got 2 strands with a size 10 embroidery needle, so it's just a little bit smaller than that size 5 embroidery needle that we were using before with the French knot. It's not as tall, it's a little bit shorter, and the tip is a lot finer. And that'll just help us get the most even, clean lines with our satin stitching. So all of the satin stitching, I'm just stitching lengthwise, but for the edges of each individual petal, I'm going to taper in the satin stitching and angle it in just a little bit toward the center of the petal instead of stitching it directly straight down. I'm just going to angle it in a little bit. That way there will be just a little bit of differentiation between each flower petal when we're all finished. So here's the finished zinnia. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please join me again next time, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks!